Now, South Africa has won 14 gold medals and set 7 world records at the recent World Powerlifting Championships in Manchester, UK. South Africa also won 2 best overall trophies at the competition. And joining us live in studio is Milan, Albertse, as well as Warrant Brits, who are both SA champs in specific categories, as well as Zane, Ison, the president of World Powerlifting Congress SA. Good evening and welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Zane, you are on Zoom joining us tonight, and our athletes who have come home with medals and world records. Good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Thank you for having us.
Warren and Milan, let's start with Warren. You have an incredible amount of strength on you. We can see it. Tell us all about the recent World Champs, where South Africa went as a team, and you guys did so well.
So we went to Manchester, as you mentioned, and there were 18 of us, and 14 of us brought back World Championships. It was a great team. It was really, the camaraderie was next level. The support we had for each other was unbelievable. Standing up front there on the platform, lifting with the motivation given to you by the team just makes it so much easier. So from that side, it was like an experience second to none. Brand new to the sport in that I've only started competing this year, so it was a really great journey, and I can't wait to continue it with them.
Warren, we'll talk about your experience as a Masters and the combination with having junior athletes. 17 years old, Milan, there you are on that list. It says male teen world champion, 82.5 kg. That really is phenomenal. You are the best in your category in the world.
Yeah, it was very a lifetime of opportunity to have gone there and to have competed, and the process that it took to get there also, especially with WPC, it was really amazing to have gotten it with them.
Yeah. All right, let's bring the president into the conversation just to find out from him, Zane, the composition of Team South Africa and the phenomenal work that came out of Manchester. 16 athletes, 14 medals. We've got world records as well. This must be really something to be proud of.
Yes, it was actually a really great experience. This was obviously my 10th Worlds that I've been to. And out of the 10, this is probably one of the best Worlds I've ever had. You know, with the team that we had was supportive. They were there for everybody. There was no, it was just incredible to see how they all stood up for each other. Manchester was also, it's hard to go from your own country to another country to compete. The time delays, the food is different. And these athletes did actually phenomenal to keep South Africa's name running high, and the WPC.
Zane, how big of a sport is powerlifting in South Africa?
At the moment, it's growing. It's not as big as we'd like it to be. We were shut down for a very long time. It's growing. We've had, started off at our first nationals about 5 years ago. We were maybe 13, 14 lifters. Last year at our nationals, we had over 200 lifters. So the sport is growing, and it's from, all ages. All ages. We got guys that are 65 that are lifting. As you see, Milan, we've got the youngsters coming up, and so yes, we're hoping to grow the sport as much as we can in South Africa. It's enjoyable. The guys love doing it.
Warren, let's bring you back in here a little bit and tell us more about the categories, because if anyone is watching and I'm saying powerlifting, they're probably just thinking one powerlift, you're just lifting weights. But there's actually 3 categories and technicalities that go into every single category in order to become a world champion.
So we have categories and disciplines in which we do. So the categories will be your age groups and weight. And then the 3 disciplines we participate in are your squat, bench press, and deadlift. And obviously your total of the 3 would give you your overall total, and that would be your standings for your category.
And what did you participate? So you participated in all 3, and which one was the best to give you the world record?
Okay, so my world record was in the deadlift. And I didn't do too bad in the squat, but my bench needs some work.
And when you say deadlift, what were you lifting?
I did a 301 kilogram deadlift.
301 kilogram you lifted?
Yes.
So that means you can lift me?
Yeah, with ease.
Well, we'll have to try that before the end of the conversation. Milan, in your age group, 82.5 kilograms, world champion. What goes into practicing and ensuring that you are the best in the world, really?
So, really, we have to prep. So, also with the preps, you have blocks, what you have to do with hypertrophy, strength training, and power training. So, you really have to schedule when you have meets, so that you have like a peak week, what we call it. So, that's where you are at your top performance for the heaviest weights that you can pull. So also you can take a break before the competition just to let the muscles relax a bit. Otherwise, it takes months of preparation for a big meet as Worlds.
But Milan, how do you combine school and making sure that you're fit enough as an athlete to compete at a world stage?
So I was fortunate enough. I'm in Hoërskool Swartkoop. So they have given me the opportunity because I was in end exams when it started. So I missed the first week. And they helped me really with it, with accommodation and everything, to make it possible for me to write the exams later and for me to go and compete, which my school really helped me with the planning and stuff for that.
And Warren, obviously, as you're traveling as a team, you've got youngsters that are still in school. You've got yourself as a master. How important is it to be working together at that level as a team, although still you are an individual athlete?
Again, this was my first experience of this, so it was quite new to me. But I think everybody motivates each other, from the youngsters watching them break records themselves to the older people. So I don't think it's necessarily because you're a master age-wise that you're guiding them. Sometimes we're learning from them. It's a technique-based sport, and pretty much we learn a lot from each other. There's a lot of coaches that are really good. I had a lady rap me for the competition, Amy, which I must mention because I wouldn't have got my squat without her, and I owe her nails. But it's everybody motivates each other, and we help where we can. We cheer each other on where we can. We motivate each other. Your nearest competitor can be shouting for you to beat him. It's literally that level of camaraderie. So.
Now, 14 world champions were brought back to South Africa. 6 new world records and 2 best overall trophies. Bringing back the president onto this conversation, Zane, with the footprint of powerlifting is incredible, as it seems, by the numbers and the achievements. But how versatile is it in terms of attracting both male and female? And is there still a stigma that is surrounding powerlifting and that it's only a male or a male athlete sport?
I mean, it used to be like that. It's not like that anymore. We've got a lot more ladies coming into it. I know on the ladies' side, you know, when they think powerlifting, they think they're going to get bigger and build muscle like men do. And it's not like that. You know, it's becoming very, very versatile for everybody at the moment. You know, we've actually, at our nationals this year, we actually, being the president, I've opened up obviously our lifting to a lot of different spectrum now. And we actually had a blind lady lifting for us at our nationals, which is incredible to watch. And to me, that is what the sport is all about. It's not only for us guys that have been in it for long or people that want to. We've opened it up for everybody that wants to join, no matter if you male, female, blind, you're disabled. I've actually got a disabled section going now for the powerlifting in South Africa, because I feel that they should have the same opportunities that we do to be able to enjoy the sport as much as we do. So now it's open for everybody. There's no more that it's only a male sport. We've got a lot more ladies coming through now than we do men at the moment.
All right, that sounds really great. The fact that there is a blind athletes also taking part who were part of Team South Africa. I know, Warren, you spoke about Amy, and Amy Froman actually is a world champion in her own right, 1.56 kilograms, a female master. So this also showcases to those that are watching that might be thinking, we only have gentlemen in the sport, that females, like myself, can join the sport.
Absolutely, and when it comes to support, they make the loudest noise, so it's awesome to have them there. And the levels they lift in at is just phenomenal. These ladies put in a lot of work, and wow, take my hats off to them. I mean, I watched them prep. I've helped Raps, Lily, and the work they put in is just phenomenal. The weights they lift in is unbelievable. So inspirational, to say the least.
Tell me, what goes into preparing for a world champion? Is it different at a master's level?
I think our recovery takes a little bit longer than the younger guys. So we need to be a little bit more careful of how hard we push ourselves. I've got a saying that I'm too stupid to be scared, so I do it and then see what happens. 300
kilograms is definitely a very scary weight.
Like I said, too stupid to be scared. Look, we take it on. We do keep ourselves. Our nutrition's important. We do work on recovery. Like Milan says, we don't go full out all the time. There's definite programs we follow. We'll peak, we'll deload, we'll do what we need to get ourselves in the best physical condition. And then the rest comes down to planning, eat and sleep, and then praying and lifting what you can.
Okay, because Milan, you had a collarbone injury before the champs. This is last year.
Yes.
And you had to recover from that while you're also preparing for a meet.
Yes.
Take us through some of the processes and the things that you were going through as a junior athlete on such a senior level, so to speak.
So last year, June, I broke my collarbone in a rugby match. And then I didn't have surgery on it because it still was on a bit. So then I had to let it heal on its own until like October last year, and then only I could get into training again, but also extremely light weights. And then also a lot of physio trips later, I could properly use my shoulder again, especially with bench press. If your shoulders aren't right, you will feel it when under heavy loads.
And take me through some of the weights, because you squat, you bench press, and you deadlift.
Yes.
Take me through some of your weights specifically.
So my bench, on my best attempt, it was 120.
120 kilograms?
Yes. That was a national record that I broke, my own. And then my squat was 207.5 kilograms, also just under a national record. And the deadlift was 212 kilograms, also a new national record.
The president of the federation, Zane, joining us on Zoom. Zane, just take us through the support of corporate. We continuously talk to athletes, to federations, and we reach out to corporate South Africa to be there. How positive of a feedback have you had from corporate South Africa in assisting some of the athletes that want to travel, that want to represent the country, but financially they are not able to?
Well, it's very hard. We, at the moment, we all obviously, if we want to go, we have to find our own sponsors and pay our own way to go through to champion. There's no help from, obviously, from the governments. There are one or two corporate companies that help a few of the athletes, but most of us we sponsor ourselves. We end up paying your trip and your food and everything that goes into the whole trade, not just at Worlds, but everything leading up to Worlds, the equipment, your gym fees, the clothing that you've got to wear. These athletes do everything by themselves. And it's very, very hard. It's very tough on their pockets. Just to be able to do the sport, it's already costing you money. And we try and go and try and help athletes where we can. But it's very difficult from the sponsorship side for lifters to get corporate sponsors.
And take me through also to the next coming events that you'll be hosting in South Africa. What can we look forward to?
Well, at the moment we've got probably about 14 competitions throughout South Africa, starting from January. Obviously, Joburg, Pretoria, Durban, Cape Town. Or we try and East London, PE, we try and space our competitions all over so where it's cheaper for our athletes to go, that they don't always have to travel far and obviously cost more money for them to get to where they can go and lift. And we have these events all become qualifiers for them to be qualified to go and lift at our nationals, which will be held in KZN in Durban this year. And then from your lifting in your nationals, that's how we choose our South African team to go to our next Worlds.
And how competitive is South Africa to the rest of the world? Who is the best that we can say we need to get to that level, and what makes the difference between the countries?
You know, it depends on how many lifters each country sees. You know, at the Worlds this year there were 46 different countries from all over, and you know, we took obviously 16 lifters. The likes of Australia they had over 34 or 40 lifters. Great Britain had a lot of athletes. America, so it's you're competing against 900 to 1,000 athletes with different weight classes. That's why it takes us 5 days to get through, or 6 days to get through the whole competition. So it's hard to say. At this year's Worlds, France obviously won the team trophy this year. But it's difficult to say who are the best, because there's so many good lifters, and you could be on top of your form today, and tomorrow when you compete, you have a bad day at the office. So it's difficult to say who are the best in the country, out of the countries, who is the best there.
All right, Warren and Milan, before we wrap it up, what are you guys individually preparing for? Because as Zane said, 14 events lined up before the nationals, and being selected there, going to the Worlds, Warren?
I've got a comp coming up on the 9th. I think we're both participating in it. Something we signed up for before Worlds in Pretoria. And then next year, I think we'll take it a little bit easier. I did 6 comps this year, and Zane says it's a bit much. So I need to work to bring that down. But it's just so much fun.
You're enjoying it, aren't you?
Absolutely.
You're a sucker for pain.
Absolutely.
Because this is your medal. Actually, please, Milan, just pass the medal back to the world champion self. All right, so 6 for Warren. And how's your year looking in terms of preparing for the next couple of tournaments?
So, as Warren said, we are competing on the 9th of December again. And then I'm going to see for 1 or 2 comps just to test my maxes and get into prep again. And then I would like to compete at nationals again next year.
As a world champion, how do you continuously measure yourself? Because I can't say who do you want to beat. You are the best in the world.
So for me, it will definitely be, I'm almost at the world records, but not just there yet. So that is what I'm aiming for. And also I push myself, and I'm competing against myself. So in the gym, you can measure it but also, as Zane said, if you have an off day, you have an off day. So the day you're there, you're competing, you have to give it your all. And that's how you can measure your stats and see if you're progressing.
And Warren, just your thoughts on that one?
I agree 100%. For me, it's about getting my world record higher, hopefully to a point where nobody can get there. But I've got to have that all going for me at the time. And then increasing my weak points, up in my bench press.
Would you say that the bench press is the one that you need to most work on?
100%, absolutely.
What is it? Is it technique? What is it exactly? Is it weight?
My long arms.
Well, okay, explain that to us. What do you mean? Explain that to us. What do you mean your long arms?
My range of motion's more than most people. It's the excuse I use. I just think...
Do you have really long arms?
I do. It helps me with my deadlifts.
All right, but now that is a disadvantage when it comes to...
To bench press, yes. Well, I think so. I believe so.
All right, but you're very tall. In terms of the different disciplines?
Also, I do struggle a bit more on bench because I'm taller.
Yes.
But also, in the sport of powerlifting, your length will come against you. So if you're shorter, obviously your range of motion is shorter. Yeah. So it will be a bit easier, but also it could be in your advantage, because if you have longer arms, you are going to struggle on bench, but you will obviously do better on deadlift.
And on the squats, because you are taller, what technique do you use? Do you go really wide on the legs?
I don't go extremely wide, but I do go out a bit. And also in powerlifting, you can choose between like a high bar squat, low bar squat, to also just shorten the range of motion a tiny bit, which I do the low bar squat.
Warren, I have a feeling that I'm doing this all wrong at gym. I'm pretty sure you see a lot of that.
I was too.
Yeah.
That's where your coaches come in. I started out with a guy, Matthew LaRue, who showed me the ropes. My gym partner and I keep ourselves in check, make sure the form is impeccable. That's probably the only way to prevent injuries, to ensure that your form is at its best. Most of the time, when I do get little niggles, it's because I got lazy on completing the set. So putting down the weight, where you lose your form. That seems to be where I hurt myself, or not hurt, but get niggles. So it's...
Because you've got to concentrate, the whole thing, the whole motion has to be perfect. Otherwise, you could just hurt your back.
Yeah, so it's that laziness when you just bend down to put something down seems to tweak your lower back, whereas if you do the set, complete the rep properly, you don't have those issues. So.
And before I let you go, what kind of changes, positive, that you'd like to see within powerlifting around the country? Because we don't see much of it on television or hear much of it on our radio stations.
So I think more exposure and get more competition. For me, it's all about competition. Competition is what drives me. When you're competing against yourself, it's not the easiest. All you have to do is set records. I have a competitor that's very close to me on his numbers. His bench is a lot better than mine, so he's who I'm determined to catch. And yeah, the more competition, the better for the sport, the better for you individually, and the more people involved, the better for any sport.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and for coming in studio this afternoon. An absolute pleasure being amongst the world champions, the best in the world in powerlifting. I'll be back at the top of the hour with headlines. For now, it's back to Hugo.